This is a Tusken Reader review of Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Thank you, Del Rey, for sending me this copy to review. So now we're going to get into a review of Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Book 1 of the Rogue Squadron series, written by New York Times best-selling author Michael A. Stackpole. Now, it's an Essential Legends Collection Expanded Universe book. So, this original paperback came out in June of 1996 by Bantam Spectra. So that's pretty cool. Now it's being republished by Del Rey. This story takes place in the New Republic era, or 7 years after the Battle of Yavin, which we saw in Star Wars A New Hope. So what's this book all about? Well, we've got Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader long gone. Okay, many worlds have remained loyal to the Empire, though. Back in A New Hope, we had the Senate dissolved and world powers were handed over to the Moffs. So some of these Moffs decided that they would stay true to the Empire, while some thought that they would go against each other and fight for power, while others actually joined the Rebel Alliance, which is kind of odd, but they just couldn't live with themselves anymore. Rogue Squadron, the elite pilots in the Rebel Alliance, have reformed and are commanded by Wedge Antilles. Now, Rogue Squadron does possess the best pilots, but they have to have the courage and the skill to operate independently and accomplish operations that would typically require a much larger force. Now, some within the squadron have blurred the line between justice and revenge against the Empire. Sometimes it's a little hard to control the balance of that sort of thing, but they need to tune in and focus and not lose their cool. Now, Rogue Squadron's main target has become Coruscant, or Imperial City, where they plan to, cut the head off the snake and put an end to the ruling empire. I'm conflicted with this book. I really wanted to like it, but I don't think that I do. I don't. One of the main characters, Corran Horn, I found him to be extremely obnoxious. He's a great pilot. He struggles with pride. He's so focused on himself. His journey in this book consists of humbling himself and learning to operate with a team. He just has a really hard time doing that. He just pushes everybody's buttons. His past haunts him. He's marked for death. I feel like he's a cheap ripoff of Han Solo many times in the book. Wedge Antilles, I had him in my mind as this hero. He is he's going to fill the gap of Luke Skywalker for Rogue Squadron. But he's just such a downer. He's a downer Debbie. He's so depressing all the time. He just always downplays everything, even their victories. He's like, oh, we can't party it up. It's just, think about all the people that died. And nobody's ever going to be as good as folks like Porkins. He's just such a downer. He's depressing. I don't like him in this book. Hopefully he gets better in the next one, but I'm not going to hold on to hope. Something that I did like that involved Wedge Antilles is during the first Rogue Squadron briefing, he tells his group that most of them are going to die within the first 5 battles. Now, he tells them that their job is going to be dull and boring, and it'll have just brief sparks of sheer action and terror. And for me, that really set up a grim tone, as well as some foreshadowing that we will certainly lose characters. But who? I'm not going to tell you, because I really can't remember, because there were just so many names and of people and places that I got kind of lost and confused. Some of the confusion that I'm talking about, with Corran Horn, we get some of his backstory. I was confused by what was going on here. It's revealed that Corran worked with Corsac. He was tasked with killing rebel smugglers. He and his team made up a bunch of names, of rebel smugglers. They didn't want to kill anybody, but that was their job. They make up a bunch of names of people that they executed, and then they escape from the Empire, and then all of those deaths were blamed on Corran, which gives him a death mark by the Empire, even though it was his job to kill the people. What? Maybe I'm missing something here. So during Corran's time with Corsac, the man that put the death mark on him was Kirtan Lore. That was his boss, and he's pretty upset with Corran, and it's like his personal mission to find Corran Horn and kill him. And, you know, Corran Horn is pretty irritated with Kirtan Lore and wants to kill him because he's heard that some of his friends have been killed by this Imperial officer, Kirtan Lore. So I mentioned before that there's a lot of names of people and places in this story, and it's like, there are things that are written well and there are things that are not. And I can't recall a single character that died in this book. I was not attached to any of them. I wasn't invested in any of them. And I still don't feel like I'm invested in any of them. Because Corran, he's just so cocky and dull, like a cheap Han Solo ripoff, and Wedge Antilles is so depressing all the time. I just don't care. So, can I recommend this book? Not really. I'm looking forward to the next one, though. Wedge's Gamble, and I know later on down the line there's one called Izard's Revenge, I think. Izard is the main villain in this story, like the more mysterious character who's like in charge of Kirtan Lore. There's a cool thing that happens in the epilogue of the book where, spoilers, Izard says to Kirtan Lore, hey, I put your name out there so that Corran Horn can find you, and then, you can kill Corran Horn. But this scares Kirtan because he's seen Corran Horn in action, but don't really care. If you are into war fighter pilot type stuff, then you should probably read this book. If you care more about like the Jedi, the mind tricks, the lightsaber battles and stuff, I don't think you're going to find this too interesting. I was going to give this book a C+. I have before. I did on another review, but now that's been sitting in my brain a while. I'm going to demote it down to a C. It's just not that great. The character development really could have been better. I was not invested in any of the characters, and that's not what I want in a book. That's it for the Rogue Squadron book review, book 1 of the Rogue Squadron series by Michael A. Stackpole. And that's going to do it for the Rogue Squadron review, book 1 of the Rogue Squadron series. Look forward to book 2 review coming sometime in April or May of 2022. May the Force be with you, always.